Okay, welcome to the lesson. Today's lesson is about modals of deduction. We use some of these modals in a different way, which is for a different video I will do in the future. It's called modals of obligation. Have to is an obligation, should is a modal of obligation, and also must and can't. They are modals of obligation. But here we're talking about them used as deduction in a deductive way. And you'll see why we call them modals of deduction in a moment, because we can see very often Sherlock Holmes would use these forms because he often uses his method of deduction to find out who is the murderer. Anyway, let's start with a modal of deduction in the present. So you can say he must be French. That means you are 100% certain that he is French. You could say he might be French. That means you're 50-50. And you can say he can't be French. That means you're certain he isn't French. Now, I think people find this present modal of deduction very easy. It's often very easy to translate into your language, and it's simply in the present. For example, he must be rich, he drives a Ferrari. But if that man who is rich is dead, perhaps, and so we want to put this modal of deduction into the past, we change he must be rich to must have and the third form of the verb. The third form of the verb is be here, so we say he must have been rich. He drove a Ferrari. Okay, that's how we put the modal of deduction into the past. But people often find it difficult, or my students find it difficult to use the past modals sometimes. The present ones are easy, but the past ones are a bit more difficult. I don't know if they translate very well into their language. And it's actually still very simple because it's still you're certain about something in the past, you're 50-50 about something in the past, or you're certain something didn't happen in the past. So if we take Sherlock Holmes as an example, there's a very famous story called The Blue Carbuncle where he finds a hat and he makes several deductions about this hat. He says that the owner must be an intellectual because the hat is very large, and Sherlock believes that a large hat means a large head, which means a large brain. I don't know if that's necessarily true, but he makes that deduction. He says the owner must be an intellectual. He uses present because the owner is alive now, and so he needs a present tense. But he also says that the owner of the hat must have been rich 3 years ago. And he makes this deduction because the hat is 3 years old and it's of the best quality. So he says the owner must have been rich 3 years ago. In another story of Sherlock's, he finds a pair of glasses. This is in the Golden Pince Nez. And he says, he deduces when he finds the glasses, he looks at the glasses and examines them, as he always does. And he says that the owner of the glasses can't be a man. I think they were in feminine style, a girly pair of glasses. I can't remember, being honest, but he says the owner can't be a man. He also makes a deduction that the owner must have been to the opticians, must have gone to the opticians. So we don't have to use be here. We can say the owner must have gone to the opticians many times. Again, I can't remember how he made this deduction, but he does. So we don't have to be only talking about Sherlock Holmes, though, to make past deductions. Any time that we speculate about the past, we need to use these past modals of deduction. So if we take an example like the pyramids, it's a very famous monument from the past, and there are lots of different opinions about these famous monuments. We can say, if perhaps you believe, like I do, the pyramids can't have been built. The pyramids can't have been built with copper tools, or using copper tools. Can't have been built. Now that's passive, can't have been built. It's a passive past modal. Can you see all of that? Yes, so perhaps I say the pyramids can't have been built with copper tools. This means that, in my opinion, it's certain that they weren't built with copper tools. Perhaps because I believe that the building is too perfect, too advanced, or even the shape and the size of the blocks. I think that the stone was too hard to be fashioned with copper tools, and so I say they can't have been built with copper tools. Or perhaps you say they might have been built with modern technology. Might have been built, the passive form, with modern technology. There are many other things we could say about the pyramids, but it's not just about pyramids, of course, that we can use this. We could speculate about other past events. So perhaps you're interested in the murder of Kennedy. You could say he can't have been shot from behind. Perhaps you believe that it's not possible that his head would move back if he's shot from behind. Okay, it's not only necessary to talk about the ancient past. You could use these for things which have just happened as well, these past modals. For example, you could say, where is Peter? Where is my friend Peter? And your friend might say, he isn't here at home, he must have gone out. It means I'm sure he has gone out because he's not here. He must have gone out. You can ask, did he go by car? And your friend may say, no, he can't have gone by car because I can see his car keys on the table. So he can't have gone by car. We know he hasn't gone by car. Okay, so there are many different situations you can use these past modals, and it does make your language sound very, very fluent if you can use them in the correct situations. It does sound good. So please remember to use them, remember how they're used, and start using them as often as possible. Thanks a lot for listening, and I hope you come back soon.